Psychodynamics. The 8-stage intervention model. Stage 1: the preliminary diagnosis of the relational pattern. Here we have 3 parts. 1. Immediacy. Investigate the client's current relationships, family, friends, colleagues, etc. 2. Explore. Explore the client's overall connectedness with the community. Questions about marital status, parenting style, and relations with neighbors will help to reveal the client's strengths and weaknesses in relating. 3. Past. Investigate the client's history and past relationships. Say something like, "Do you mind if we leave the present so you can tell me about your childhood?" Be aware of any apprehension. It signifies the client has defenses in place. Honor them. Be gentle. Be aware of your own feelings. What are they telling you? Identify any patterns of interaction that provide insight into the client's problems. Note: do not interpret at this stage. Stage 2: building the therapeutic alliance. Establish rapport. Form a good relationship with the client. Do not become engrossed in the story. Take note of the underlying processes. Use the therapeutic relationship for insight. How are you feeling? Note the client's body language and tonality. Identify potential defenses. Give the client your full attention. Show interest and acceptance. Be non-judgmental. Stage 3: identify. Identify maladaptive relational patterns. Become attuned to the client cognitively and emotionally. Become aware of your own emotional reaction to the interaction. Differentiate between negative and positive countertransference. Negative countertransference is the therapist's emotional reaction to the client based on his own needs and past conditioning. Seek supervision for this. Positive countertransference is the therapist's genuine response, their thoughts and feelings, to the client. What does positive transference tell you about the client's way of interacting? Use this to enable you to identify the maladaptive relational patterns of the client. Stage 4: client expresses maladaptive patterns. Once you have identified the client's maladaptive relational patterns, facilitate the heightening of awareness to a level whereby the client recognizes the patterns, which will be ingrained and unconscious. Do not directly interpret your findings. Enable the client to come to their own conclusion. This enables the client to develop insight and awareness of the ties that bind them. Ask the client what they want to achieve from the therapeutic relationship. Stage 5: the therapist generates empathic confrontation. Unconsciously, the patient may try to draw you into the drama, manipulate you. Refuse to participate. Do not collude with the client. The client may project unacceptable parts of themselves, internalized characters from their past, onto you in attempt to resolve the conflict that exists within. This is an example of transference. Your genuine emotional response to this, known as positive countertransference, should be used to feedback your insight into the negative relational patterns. The client, unable to manipulate, is forced into confronting their negative patterns, which, to date, have required great effort to camouflage. Because it is a sensitive and potentially volatile process, the confrontation should be done with great awareness and care. Stage 6: working through the confrontation, continued. Initially, the client may object to the confrontation. They may express unhappiness, confusion, rebel, act out, increase demands for help, cancel or be late for appointments, become depressed or anxious. Depending on the degree of resistance, this may last for a few weeks or so. The therapist shouldn't yield to the client's defense mechanisms, but view it as part of the healing process. Remember, this is a protective sheath surrounding the client's fragile self. It is not easily dropped. You must understand this and honor the client's disposition. When the client breaks through the resistance and embraces self-honesty, she will often express relief and excitement, and seek new ways of relating. Stage 7: working through the confrontation. The client accepts their maladaptive relational patterns. Therapy enters a new stage based on open and honest communication. The therapist models open communication by telling the client what the interaction felt like. Now, the client begins to understand how others who have been induced into their drama have felt. They can now review their relationships with family and friends through this new perspective, relaying what they have learned in therapy. They make a conscious decision to relate in an honest way, as opposed to a manipulative way. Stage 8. Separation and termination. Time now to move from dependency on the therapeutic relationship to autonomy. Therapists should not minimize the anxiety produced by separation. Review and summarize the therapeutic journey. Help the client to raise awareness of the fact that the healthy parts of the therapeutic relationship have been assimilated. This means that, although therapy is ending, their relationship continues in the self-structure. For more information visit https://alp2alp.com.